Okay, let's dive into this explainer and master the exact steps required to verify a nursing license in the state of New York. Whether you're a healthcare employer protecting patient safety, a patient seeking peace of mind, or a nurse moving to the state, getting this process right is absolutely non-negotiable. Let's get started. Think about this. What happens when a lifetime license doesn't actually give someone the right to practice? If you mess up credential verification, you could be exposing your facility or yourself to some severe legal and compliance nightmares. And in New York, a single unique quirk in how the state views professional licenses is usually the main culprit behind these massive oversights. So, how do we make sure you never fall into that trap? Here's our agenda for today. We'll cover the stakes of verification, navigating the right database, executing the search, interpreting license statuses, troubleshooting common errors, and finally, next steps and alternatives. Section 1. The stakes of verification. Let's unlock the crucial distinction that essentially serves as the secret key to New York nursing compliance. It's a concept that constantly trips up out-of-state recruiters and new administrators. Here's the deal. A New York nursing license is actually granted for life, literally forever. Unless it's formally surrendered, suspended, or revoked by the state due to professional misconduct, that license never goes away. However, simply holding a license does not give a nurse the authorization to engage in active clinical practice. To legally practice, they need an active registration certificate, and that must be renewed every 3 years. And this right here perfectly illustrates why verification is critical. A nurse might hand you a piece of paper proving they're licensed, but if their triennial registration has lapsed, they are legally unauthorized to practice. Hiring an uncredentialed nurse or missing an expired registration immediately compromises healthcare standards. It exposes both the practitioner and your facility to massive civil and administrative liability. It's just not worth the risk. Section 2. Navigating the right database. Now, what's really fascinating about finding the right database is that New York maintains highly centralized yet strictly segregated systems. You absolutely must use the New York State Education Department's Office of the Professions, we'll call it NYSED, for registered nurses, LPNs, and nurse practitioners. So many people accidentally wander over to the New York State Department of State Licensing Division, but if you search the Department of State, you're only going to find business entities, real estate brokers, and appearance enhancement licenses like cosmetologists and barbers. It yields exactly zero clinical results. Oh, and keep in mind that certified nurses' aides, or CNAs, aren't licensed through the Office of the Professions at all. Because they aren't considered licensed clinical professionals under the NYESD umbrella, you'll need to pivot over to a completely separate database, the Prometric Public Registry, to get them verified. Section 3. Executing the search. Let's walk through the actual verification request and see how this builds into a foolproof procedure. Step 1 is visiting opt.nysed.gov. Now, searching by the unique 6-digit license number is always your most accurate method. It completely bypasses errors caused by legal name changes or common surnames. But if you absolutely have to use a name, you need to navigate that interface carefully. Make sure you select the exact professional class from the drop-down menu, like Registered Professional Nurse, to avoid any false negative results. There's also a highly specific technical quirk here you've got to watch out for. The nicest system enforces a strict minimum 3-character requirement for a last name search. For example, imagine you're searching for a nurse with the last name Lee. If you just type L-I, the system will flat out reject it. You literally have to add a space after the I to pass the system's validation rule. Ultimately, your goal is precision. You aren't just looking for a general name match. You're confirming that the exact first name, last name, and license data fully align with the individual sitting in front of you. Section 4. Interpreting license statuses. Once you hit Submit, you need to know exactly how to interpret the results that pop up on your screen. Misunderstanding these terms is a fast track to a disastrous hiring decision. Let's look at a hypothetical scenario. You're reviewing a candidate and their status says inactive. This simply means they aren't currently practicing, but their license can be reactivated. No big deal. However, if their status says lapsed or expired, that means they failed to renew on time and they absolutely cannot practice until it's formally renewed. Active is the gold standard. That means they are fully licensed and eligible to practice today. But what happens if you see a suspended or revoked status? If you see this, or you just need to investigate potential professional misconduct for a background check, you're going to need to cross-reference with the Office of Professional Discipline's enforcement records. For detailed, formal action documents, you can contact our hotline directly at 800-442-8106. Section 5. Troubleshooting common errors. Okay, but what if the online system is temporarily down, or maybe your compliance department requires a formal hard copy certification for an upcoming state audit? You definitely have actionable alternatives. If the web portal crashes, you can do a telephone verification by calling the state at 518-474-3817. Just a quick heads up, you're strictly limited to 2 inquiries per call, so have the employee's name, profession, license number, and date of birth ready to go before you dial. For legal or compliance teams needing a sealed, certified written verification for their files, a phone call won't cut it. You'll need to submit a formal request via mail. This means sending NYSED Form 3 along with a $10 statutory fee straight to the Certification and Verification Unit up in Albany. By mastering these troubleshooting steps and knowing exactly when to utilize online searches versus written institutional requests, you can confidently reach a verified confirmation status every single time. It's the best way to ensure your facility remains fully compliant without those annoying, unnecessary delays. Section 6. Next steps and alternatives. Finally, let's look at the broader landscape, particularly for out-of-state nurses trying to verify and endorse their existing licenses into New York State. Because New York is strictly not a member of the Nurse Licensure Compact, out-of-state nurses cannot simply cross the border and practice on a multi-state license. They absolutely must formally endorse their license into New York. This means they cannot practice until their New York authorization is officially issued and registered, which often involves initiating primary source verifications from their home state through the National Nurses Database and paying a fee. Now, please take away from this explainer that while these steps and fees are standard today, regulations and web layouts can and do shift. It's always best practice to consult the official New York State Education Department website or your legal counsel to ensure you have the most current compliance procedures for your specific situation. We really hope this structured guide leaves you fully equipped to navigate the centralized New York nursing database. Knowing the difference between a lifetime license and a triennial registration is honestly half the battle. But it does make you wonder, right? If a single data entry error or misunderstanding that 3-character rule can compromise an entire hospital's compliance, are there any gaps in your own credentialing workflow that you need to fix today?